My name is Susanna and I am the lead ranger at the Wolf Creek Education Center in Redwood National and State Parks. There are some trails where you can hike through an old-growth redwood forest and you really feel the history of what these 2,000-year-old trees represent. But then as you hike along, you can hike down to the ocean. That diversity, standing on the beach and being able to see the sea lions or the distant spouting of the gray whales as they're migrating, that juxtaposition between those two different types of ecosystems to me is really fascinating and fun to explore. Originally, this area of southern Oregon, northern California had about 2 million acres of old-growth redwood trees. In the 1800s, when the loggers first started cutting down these trees, it was a multi-day job just to cut down a single redwood tree. But throughout the 1800s, technology kind of developed and enabled the logging operations to happen at a much faster rate. By the early 1900s, people were looking around at what used to be these majestic old-growth redwood forests and realizing that something needed to be done to make sure that there were remaining redwoods. The Save the Redwoods League was formed, and they managed to garner enough support and enough funding to buy some privately owned lands, which contained some of the stands of uncut redwoods. Logging continued on a lot of the other lands, and it wasn't until about 1968 that the national park was formed to protect some of the tallest trees that had been discovered to date. I wish that every child would have an opportunity to visit and spend time in our national parks, because every time that I've left a national park, whether it's here in California or in some other state, I've left with a feeling of inspiration. The experience that I've had working with children in Redwood National and State Parks is the kids come in and sometimes they're very wound up and hyper, and as soon as they enter the old-growth forest, their jaws drop and they look up into the canopy and they say, "This is like magic." I think it helps us to understand our place in this world and just that feeling of inspiration and joy that being in nature can fill us with. And I think that every child deserves that opportunity.